Welcome to The Author's Journey with #1 international best-selling author and in-demand publisher, Rebecca Hall Gruyter. Today, we'll showcase the works of an amazing best-selling author, find out the story behind their book, and explore ways to bring your message powerfully forward. Now, here's your host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter.
Welcome, everyone. I hope that you're having an amazing day. Excited to connect in with you on the author's journey, where we talk to amazing, heartfelt, powerful experts and best-selling authors, and they pull back the curtain and really share from their heart, from their spirit, what it's like, what the journey's been like, things they learned and discovered, tips and insights they have to support us on our journey. So each of us become empowered, and as our expert today would say, ennobled, to bring our message, our gifts forward. So lean in. I'm really excited to connect in with you as we talk with an amazing author today and focus in on being ennobled for success and what that means, what that feels like, and how can we be ennobled and empowered and uplifted to step powerfully into each of our successes, and what does that mean? So it's going to be a great conversation today. Very honored to have you leaning in and joining us today. And I'd like to take a moment to support all of us in being fully present. So let's take a breath in through the nose, out through the mouth like through a straw. Feel yourself slowing down just a little bit. I feel like we are in such a hurry all the time, rushing from one thing to the next, when we can remember to stop. Pause and breathe. Even those extra seconds. It lowers our stress levels, it lowers our cortisol levels, it helps us become fully present. It actually creates space within us to receive. I encourage you to choose to be fully present. And in fact, for those of you who want to up-level the experience, have a pen and paper ready. Be ready to jot down some notes, ideas, concepts, information that come to you that can support and empower you on your journey. It's so easy to miss things or have an idea and then run off to the next shiny thing. So take a moment to capture those ideas. Let us pour into you to support you on your journey, because I know there's something here for you by the very nature of you tuning in. So let us become part of your journey as you are leaning in to the conversation, discovering what can support you, what you are called to bring forward as our amazing expert shares. Be open to receive information from her amazing and powerful insights, but also listen to that still small voice within you. And when we slow down, choose to be fully present, we can receive. So be open, available to receive all that will serve you today. And with that openness, I'm very honored and excited to introduce to you a dear friend of mine and an amazing expert named Dr. Kasthuri Henry, known as Dr. Cass. She has a PhD, is a CEO of Cass Henry Incorporated, and is driven by her mission of building to last and ennobling for success. Her ability to first developing the being and bringing that authentic self to all the doing makes her a sought-after member of the Forbes Coaches Council. She has successfully led global transformation as a financial strategist, CFO, and change agent across Fortune 500 countries, across countries, as well as Fortune 500 companies. She is a #1 international best-selling author multiple times over. Her book that she recently released, called Ennobling for Success, has reached international best-selling status on across multiple countries, multiple categories. So Ennobled for Success became a #1 international best-selling book in over 9 it looks like 9 countries and 55 categories, 12 of them being number 1. Huge accomplishment, wide reach, powerful author. Also, she is a podcast host, an in-demand expert, and is passionate about helping you connect to your being so you can channel your doing and share your unique, powerful light with the world. Please lean in and warmly welcome the powerful and ennobled Dr. Kasthuri Henry to the show. Welcome.
Thank you so very much, Rebecca. That was such a sweet and warm welcome. Thank you. So honored to be on the show and so grateful to have an opportunity to be present with your audience.
Well, thank you for leaning in. I know it's been so busy with the launch of the book and all that you've been doing. I'm very honored and excited that you're able to join us today, and I appreciate you taking time to lean into this conversation and support and ennoble others. And I know that's something that is near and dear to your heart. So thank you for leaning in. And I'd love for you to start our conversation with sharing, what is this about being? Why is that so important, and where you focus before we step into the doing?
I'm glad you asked that question, because all through life, when we meet people, we're always introducing ourselves based on what we do. But there is more to us than what we do. I learned very early on in life, growing up in the middle of a war zone, what we do, what we have, the family, the power, the connections, the money, the access, all of that goes away. The only thing that remains with us is a sense of who we are and our relationship with the universe and people around us. And that got me thinking at a very young age, the importance of being in the moment, being mindful, being connected to who I am at the soul. Because ultimately, I am larger than my body. I am deeper than my body. I am my soul. And once I understood that, everything started falling into perspective for me. It was what allowed me to take the journey of being a child in a country of war, being a persecuted minority, to, take charge of my life and my destiny. And at a 16-year-old, leave the country and find my way, knowing that my soul has the light and it is going to lead the way for me. And there'll be other souls that I will encounter who will shine their light and help me walk my destiny, right? So that allowed me to come to this realization that I had a gift and I need to pass that gift on, because if I don't share it, then what's the point in it? Like love and kindness, our soul is supposed to be shared. And so to me, the ability to share with other people and get them through their own journey of finding their true self, and then through that, shining in what it is they choose to do. Because who we are determines how we show up and what we do, as opposed to what we do shaping us, because we can't be changing. We can't be inconsistent. So to me, that true self is important.
Thank you. And it sounds like, as you're sharing, what I was hearing very clearly is the importance of really knowing who we are, but that clarity then leads what we do, and it can give us direction. And I was thinking then that may mean that those who are focused on the doing first, and you're just starting to touch on that, can change and shift sometimes because they aren't starting with being and who they are. It's almost like they've tried to reverse that to focus on the doing, and then they do this, and then their identity keeps moving around, and that can be disillusioning and overwhelming and lead to burnout. So I love how you have reversed this and really gotten to the core, and how powerfully that served you and you are serving others, about really starting with the being, really focusing in on who you are, and then let the doing come from that. And have you found that has helped you make challenging and difficult decisions, like have that clarity because you know who you are first?
Always. When we know who we are, we have authenticity in everything we do. When it comes to self-awareness and emotional intelligence, it's almost like a rocket propeller. It truly gives clarity and the power to do what is right and not compromise. And what makes us successful professionally and in life are two things. Our authenticity, the authenticity with which we show up, and therefore the trust we're able to build.
Beautiful.
And if I am like Quicksilver or I am like a chameleon and I'm changing based on what I need to accomplish, then why should anybody trust me? How can I trust myself because I don't know how I'm going to show up? And I have found in life that when I remain true to who I am and my true north, and my soul is at peace, then my entire being is centered and I can make better choices. Because if you think about the science of all of this, when I'm connected to my being, I'm happy and I'm peaceful. Two things we can only get from inside, right? Peace and happiness are not things you get from the outside. It's something you find from within you. And so being authentic to yourself and being able to be my true north and be centered in my soul allows me to have this positive brain chemistry within me, which is propelling my emotional intelligence. And that actually enhances my IQ and my ability to do the things I do with that much more clarity. There's actually brain science behind how all of this propelled by gratitude, because ultimately happiness and peace is also propelled by gratitude. And when we have gratitude in our soul, we can find that peace and happiness, and therefore everything we do turns out well. And sometimes people think that, I'm lucky. And I tell them, no, it is not luck. It's choice.
Beautiful.
And the choices we make truly allows the universe to rise up and meet us because we're all balls of energy, right? Our soul is the energy source for our entire body.
Wonderful. No, Dr. Tass, I'm going to cut you off right there because you have given us so much great information, wonderful ways to really look at how we are being in the world and having that clarity and making sure to start with that and feeling it with gratitude. The reminder that we do have chemistry that works within us and it can work with us and support us and help us continue to move forward. But it really starts with this being, having clarity and being who you are authentically in all circumstances and letting that dictate what we do. We are getting ready to go to our first commercial break. And as we do that, listeners, I want you to think for a moment, just really take a moment to pause and really digest what Dr. Cass is sharing with us and how are we being? Are we being consistent in who we are as we are showing up in different situations? Are we being clear? Are we being authentic? Are we identifying ourselves first as who we are, or is it in what we do? So think about these things. Take these next couple moments to pause, go a little deeper, take a breath, and really see what you discover. And we'll continue our conversation and talk about Dr. Cass's journey as an author in just a moment.
Become our friend on Facebook. Post your thoughts about our shows and network on our timeline. Visit facebook.com/Voice America.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you had a moment to think about being and have we fallen into that place of describing what we do first versus who we are and what matters most to us. I think it's really great food for thought, especially as we are looking to the holidays and we are getting together, whether it's virtually or in person. And so often people want to know what we've been up to. And so often we go right to the doing instead of sharing who we are and what we're doing, what we're being, how we're growing, what we're discovering. So I want to encourage you to pay attention to that and really spend some time learning who you are and going deeper. And I'm excited to shift the conversation and you'll find Dr. Cass has so much wisdom, so much that she brings to the world. I want to encourage you to get to know her. I just did a highlight from her bio. You'll find her bio, her contact information in the information that we shared about the show, so you can always go deeper. At the end of the show, we'll let you know how you can connect with her further. But I wanted to focus particularly on the author's journey, about her journey as an author. And with that, Dr. Cass, I'd love for you to share why. Why did you feel led to bring a book forward called Ennobled for Success? Why was this book personally important to you? And what are you hoping people get out of it?
That is such an important question. And to me, it was all about making sure that I understood and absorbed the times and the world we're living in, and all the animosity, divisiveness, anger, hate, disappointment, all the negative things are propelling us and fueling us in our society today. And in an environment like this, it's so important to take a step back and realize what all we need to be grateful for and thankful for. And take a deep breath and realize, oh my God, we have so much going for us. Why don't we use all of that to truly take a journey within? And then from that place of centeredness, how do we start solving our problems? Because our problems cannot be solved personally, professionally, and societally by just going on doing and doing and doing without being. We've got to the point of utter chaos because everybody is too busy doing. Nobody knows themselves, therefore they're not taking time to know somebody else. And so we are compounding. And I felt that it was the right time to have this book come out, to get the conversation started so that we can be our own solution.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. And I love that you were willing, this book, her book, Ennobled for Success, is so powerful, and it feels very intimate when you read it. And I appreciate how much of your life you are willing to share, and what you discovered and what you learned and what stretched you, and the perspective you chose even at a really young age in very challenging circumstances and situations. You chose how to be. You chose how you looked at things, and you took charge of your destiny in so many different ways in your life and what you stood for. And there are times that you share hard choices in business, but they were very clear to you what it was. And every step of the way, I feel like equipped and empowered you and ennobled you for the next. And one of the things that struck me in the opening section of your book was your deep gratitude and appreciation and lifting up of others that you believed ennobled you. Would you mind sharing a little bit about that?
Sure. We tend to think, when we think of role models, we think about people to look up to. It has to be people with power and position and accomplishments that are material in this world. But for me, the people I looked up to and the people who ennobled me were everyday people that might be invisible to others. It was my rickshaw guy who took me to school. He was the first person who taught me the value of listening. The first act of love is to actually listen. And he didn't mind that I was a child. He didn't mind that I was a curious child with all these questions. He talked to me, and my very early recollections of having wise conversations as a 2.5, 3-year-old was with my rickshaw man. And he was my best friend. And then as I grew up and went to school, it was my teacher, my 6th grade teacher, Sister Julia. And these individuals did not do whatever they did because it was their job. They did it because they had kindness in their heart to hold space for me, just as they did it for everybody else's children. And I have learned that the ability to ennoble doesn't come from anything other than having a heart big enough to care and be kind. And
beautiful.
when I grew up, I just wanted to be like them, be able to be kind, and thereby choose happiness and peace.
Thank you for sharing. Really, really powerful, really beautiful. And there's a story in there that I know you and I have had many discussions about that involves an umbrella. And actually, well, I'll share this after you share. But there's this moment in the book where you share a story from the perspective of an umbrella. Would you mind sharing just a little bit about that?
I would love to. So my sixth grade teacher, Sister Julia, I was educated in a Catholic convent school. The assignment for the day was to write the autobiography of an umbrella. So I chose to write about my umbrella, and my umbrella, because it went with me everywhere, the umbrella experienced my life as I lived it as a child. And so the autobiography of the umbrella walks the reader through the trials and tribulations and heartbreak and fear of a young girl as a persecuted minority in an island nation where she doesn't know every morning when she gets dressed and goes to school if she's going to come home alive. All the things she's going to see as the government and the military harms people on the way. I don't want to get too graphic here, but all the atrocities military and governments can do when they believe that an entire people are really not human or they don't belong. And so the life of this young girl seen through the eyes of the umbrella was a compelling way for me to tell the story. And I am a very emotive writer. I write from my heart, even as a child. Obviously, I wrote the story in my native tongue in Tamil. And the teacher, Sister Julia, couldn't stop crying when she read the essay. And she had me read it to the whole class. And from there started a very, very important conversation Sister Julia and I had. But if you want me to go into that, I can go into it later, Rebecca. But I wanted to make sure I recap the story for you.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. And not only did the umbrella experience, because it was going with you everywhere you went, your journey there, but even the journey at home and some of how you looked at the world a little differently than sometimes your family did as well. So it just had such a deep, rich experience. And as I read that and I read your book, my heart just feels like it gets to know your heart and your spirit and cheers you on as I read the story. And so recently, Dr. Cass sent me a graphic with an umbrella, and it said, "May your umbrella," oops, my phone is tilting here, "May your umbrella have a beautiful story to tell this week." And that so touched my heart. And so one of the things that I hope for all of you listening is that you make choices so that umbrella that you can take with you or whatever you carry around with you all the time has something beautiful to share and to celebrate this week. And I think sometimes we're too close, or we're just living day in and day out, and we don't observe ourselves. We don't spend time being and appreciating ourselves. And so I hope that you do that this week, that you find a way to have something beautiful that if your umbrella were to tell its tale, it could share. And Dr. Cass, I want to thank you for that beautiful graphic, for bringing this powerful book forward, for that message, and this importance of lifting each other up, of listening, really coming from a place of love, and that's a beginning of ennobling, is that deep place of listening. I'd like to take a step back and talk about what helped you go from, someday I'll bring a book forward, someday? I know that you were saying you felt like this was the time, but what helped you decide, yes, I'm going to do this, it's not a someday thing, and actually bring it forward? What helped you do that? What steps helped you bring it forward and make it a reality?
That's a very interesting question. I had written the full outline of the book, and I had written the first 5 chapters, and I knew that I needed to publish this book first before I wrote all the other things I want to write. I've been a prolific writer academically and for research, but I have never published a book. Academic material is very different. Mm-hmm. I wanted this to lay the foundation because who I am, people need to understand who I am before they can read all my other work. So true to my values and the way I live my life, I needed for this to be the first book. But I also needed to find the right publisher who connected with me at the deep level of that soul so that I had a partner to bring this forward with. And I had been talking to publishers for the last 2 years. And to me, what allowed me to move forward now, in addition to the time, is actually building that relationship with you, Rebecca, and getting to know you and knowing that you are the right partner. And my soul felt at peace in working with you and working with your team. And it felt natural and authentic, and I didn't have to compromise what it is I was doing.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I'm very honored. I felt a soul connection right away as well. And we are very proud to have brought this book forward with you and all the lives it's touched and is touching. It's just been an honor and a joy. And I just want to encourage our listeners, and I like that you shared that you had been looking and talking with publishers. I think sometimes we settle and or we hold our message back. So I love that you persevered and found that right fit. And I want to encourage any of our listeners to persevere, keep talking, find that right fit. If we can support you in any way, we're always happy to have that conversation. But I ultimately want each of you to bring your message, your wisdom, your expertise forward. It's needed in the world. And Dr. Cass, I love that you persevered, that you listened to your spirit and your soul and leaned into that right fit for you. And I celebrate that. And do you have advice for any of our listeners today that are, how do I recognize that right fit? Are there things I should be exploring or asking or thinking about in those conversations? Do you have any tips, advice?
Sure. I think the first step to knowing what is the right fit for us is to knowing who I am. And that's important because if I don't know who I am and where I am, I don't know where I'm going and who I need to help me get.
Yes.
Almost like a GPS, right? If I don't, if my GPS doesn't know exactly where it is right now, it doesn't know which direction to go to take me to my destination. Any way I go, I'm going to be lost. So knowing who I am and having a deep connection with who I am and what I represent for myself, that is the first step.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And listeners, I hope that you're taking some notes here of some first steps, especially for those of you who have that calling to bring your book forward. You don't need to do it on your own, and you can find that right fit, but it starts with knowing who you are, what your goals are, what you're trying to accomplish it. And thinking about that and looking back and then looking forward. So if we go back to where you started on the journey and you said yes and you're leaning and you're taking the steps, does anything surprise you along the way in bringing the book forward? Was there a surprise?
There's always surprises, right? Life doesn't unfold the way it thinks in the head. Just like I think of saying something, and when I actually verbalize it, it's like, oh my God, did I actually say it that way? So no matter what it is we do, however prepared we are, there are always going to be surprises. Things that we don't end up doing right, things that don't get completely communicated because everybody is absorbing things from different perspectives. So I think what surprised me is our ability to be able to stay positive and be able to support each other through this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's part of why I needed to find the right fit, because it's not that anything we touch is all going to go perfectly. But if you have the right partner to go through the process, then any glitches we come through, we can navigate it together because that authenticity and that trust is there. Yes. So what surprised me is that how well that you and I had connected and laid the foundation even before we started, Rebecca, so that any issues we ran into was not a big deal, and we laughed through it all. We truly enjoyed navigating through it all, and I can say that I actually have not just you, but everybody on your team I have worked with, I have made friends. I have made relationships for life. Yeah. And that is the beautiful thing. That is the beautifully surprising thing. And to me, that is very serendipitous.
Thank you for sharing. I'm so glad that was your experience, and they adore you and light up whenever I say your name. So I love how authentically and powerfully you walk your walk and are who you say you are, and you are that in all circumstances, and have a willingness to connect with people in a very real way and show warmth and gratitude and appreciation. And it just is so beautiful, and I know has been a very, very positive, wonderful experience for all of us on the team. And I know your book has been having a powerful impact. It became best-selling in so many different countries and categories around the world. And I'm just curious what some of that was like, going from launching the book, because it happens in a fairly short amount of time, the launching to best-selling to international bestseller, and then #1 international bestseller. What was that like?
It's very surreal. Getting the reviews done through my professional network was the good way to start. That was a good guidance you gave me. And that kicked off the entire realization how deeply this touched people. My business strategic partners in the learning and development and diversity and inclusion space, these leaders said that they cried for days after reading the book because it forced them to stop and take a journey within to reassess what is it they're doing and where they lost their way, right? And then as the book started doing well, and in the first 24 hours, people who were buying it, calling and talking to me, an entire call center apparently stopped what they were doing and bought the book in India, and they were texting me to talk to me about it as they were reading. And to me, that was powerful. Also funny, obviously they should be doing their work, but it forced them to stop and think about, oh my God, what am I doing? I never looked at my life this way. And therefore it was doing what it was supposed to do. Every morning I wake up to strangers, people I don't know, but people who've read the book, who know me through my book, messaging me on Instagram or Facebook, wanting to talk about what it is they're going through and how the book is helping them navigate it. And that is the gift that my readers keep giving me.
So powerful.
It starts with gratitude, and then that cycle of gratitude keeps giving everybody who enters that cycle, right? So it is a very healing cycle, and that feels good.
Thank you for sharing that. And I love that it has impacted people so powerfully, even a whole call center. I love that. and your willingness to keep connecting, to keep supporting, and to keep sharing it out there and holding space for so many people, ennobling them by your book and the ripple effect it's happening, that is just continuing to ripple out. We are getting ready to go to our next commercial break. And as we do that, listeners, I want you just to digest and take in what Dr. Cass has been sharing and see what's being spoken into your heart, into your spirit. If there are things that, wow, I would love to talk to her further, anything like that, take a moment, write those thoughts down, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Become our friend on Facebook. Post your thoughts about our shows and network on our timeline. Visit facebook.com/Voice America.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you took a moment to write down some of your thoughts and things that are speaking to your heart about being. And I wanted you to know we haven't shared. We've got so caught up in the conversation, or I got so caught up in the conversation, I should say, that we didn't let you know where you could get Dr. Cass's book. And so I wanted to make sure we took a moment and shared. And I know that there is a companion journal that you're working on. There's just different pieces, and I want to make sure people know where they can get your book. And if you don't mind sharing that, as well as a little bit about the companion journal, and then I can have them know how to connect with you further as well. But please start with, where can they find this amazing book, Ennobled for Success, in case they don't have a copy yet?
Sure. If you Google Amazon.com, and you type in Ennobled for Success, ENNOBLED, space FOR, space SUCCESS. The book comes up. You have the option to buy the electronic version or the print version. And remember, you don't have to have a Kindle to get the electronic version. If you have an electronic device, you can get the electronic version. So pick the one that's going to work for you best based on how best you like to read. And I am releasing a gratitude journal to help you as you read the book to start your journey of gratitude to become ennobled for your own success. The gratitude journal is being finalized, and it should be released between Thanksgiving and Christmas. So that is my way of sharing with the world a wonderful Christmas gift that keeps giving.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. And for those who like to have a visual to look for, can you describe the cover and the colors of the cover so that people recognize right away that's the book?
Oh, I would love to. So Ennobled for Success has shades of nice mossy green and the turquoise type blue of the ocean. It reminds me of the beauty, vibrancy, and nurturing qualities of the island I'm from. If you look at fresh growing paddy fields, rice fields, surrounded by the ocean with coconut trees and palm trees, as you land, Sri Lanka is one of those beautifully breathtaking sights to see with white sandy beaches. And it reminds me, no matter how hard life gets and how crazy politicians can be, life can be beautiful if you just are grateful and take in everything around you. So the cover is to remind me and remind the readers the beauty and the vibrancy of life and Mother Nature herself. And take that and move from there, because there's everything positive to draw from there.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. And then for those who want to go deeper and connect with you further, how can they do that? What's the best way?
The quickest way is to go to my website, KAShenry.com, Cass@CassHenry.com. And on the website are all my social media links as well as the link to the book. So if you go to my website, you can actually click on the link to the book and go directly to Amazon. You can get access to all my social media, as well as get information on my weekly radio, TV talk show. So connect with me. I look forward to connecting with you. You can find me as Dr. Cass Henry, DrKashenry on Facebook, as well as Henry Kasthuri, HenryKasthuri on Instagram.
Perfect. Thank you. I appreciate it. And really quickly, can you give us a minute insight as to some of the things that we can be watching for that you're looking to bring forward? Everyone get your pen ready. You heard it here. Are there things that we can be looking for and watching for that will be coming in the next year?
Sure. I am in the process of finalizing a book with a co-author to help build resiliency, a resiliency playbook. Regardless of our age, our profession, our background, there's something in it for everybody, and it is actually a workbook to take us through that journey. That is coming hopefully in the first half of the year, first quarter preferably. And then I'm also writing a book on the importance of lasting relationship in a marriage with my husband. I think it's important for couples to know that life is not as it seems when you fall in love and get married. But how do you navigate that and still keep that spark and still keep that commitment and loyalty and authenticity of your relationship? And how do you navigate turbulent times and still hold on to that is so special? So I can't wait for everybody to share that journey with me, because that is also equally important in a society where 50% of our marriages don't last, and yet we all crave human relationship and companionship. It's my hope that becomes a sequel to Ennobling for Success. How do we navigate and build a life that is meaningful for us, especially as we get older?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. I'm really looking forward to the journal, your gratitude journal, coming out the end of this year, and then these two powerful books and resources that you're bringing forward. So thank you for spending time with us today and sharing from the heart about your journey and the importance of being and knowing who we are and starting there as we build and step forward into the new year and beyond. And listeners, I hope that you have gotten some great insights and moments that are stretching or are giving you some things to think about and reflect on. And I encourage you to take a couple minutes at the end of the show just for you to process, write down some of your thoughts, and take a moment to process and integrate on a cellular level. Let them become part of who you are being as you get ready to go out into the world. And may your umbrella have beautiful shares that it can bring forward as it talks about this forthcoming week and all that you are journeying through and bringing forward. May you choose to have beautiful things that you reflect on and are choosing to bring forward. Have an amazing week, everyone, and we'll look forward to talking to you next time.
Thank you for tuning in to The Author's Journey. Please join Rebecca Hall-Greider for another edition of the Author's Journey podcast every Monday on the Voice America Variety Channel. And until we talk again, use some of the tips and inspiration from today's show to guide you as you lean in to bringing your message forward.